Why hello, I didn't see you there. We're back to finish up our draft in Crimson Vow, where hopefully we take our complete revenge on this format. We are playing red, green, werewolves, humans, ? Because our big payoffs are 2 copies of Wolfkin Outcast, a 5/4 human werewolf, it costs 2 less if you have a wolf or werewolf, and it flips into the Wedding Crasher, a 6/5 werewolf. Whenever it or another wolf or werewolf dies, we draw a card. And we also have Laid to Rest, which is an enchantment. Where a human dies, we draw a card. So we've got a lot of humans, we've got a lot of wolves, we've got a lot of werewolves. We have 3 copies of Voltaic Visionary, which is a little bit of spice for the deck. 2 mana, 3/1. Taps to do 2 damage to us. We exile the top card of our library and can play it this turn. And when we do that, when we play that card, it flips into a 4/3 that can't block. A lot of juice for a 2 mana card. We have 2 copies of Wolfstrike, and a Braid, and a Blessed Bolt for removal. And a Sure Strike, which has been kind of a quiet overachiever. A card I underestimated definitely early on in the format, but a 2 mana instant combat trick, target creature gets +3/+0, and First Strike is not too shabby. We are up 4-0. Let's see if we can get this win. Boom. The client is eager to find us an opponent today. Okay, we go first. Great. We have a Blessed Bolt for turn 1, if need be, a turn 2 Voltaic Visionary, Wedding Invitation, and a Weary Prisoner. Seems like a perfectly good hand. So we'll lead with that Mountain. See if we have anything that we need to bolt. They go for a Ceremonial Knife off of a forest. So this is an equipment that gives +1/+0, and whenever the creature deals damage to anything, they get a blood token. Okay, we're going to play our Voltaic Visionary. They go another forest, and they go Dawnheart Disciple. This is a 2/2 human warlock. When another human enters the battlefield, it gets +1/+1. Do we bolt it and get in there? And then we could play a Wedding Invitation to follow it up? I say why not? Bolt the Disciple. Swing for 3 with the Voltaic Visionary. Play Wedding Invitation. Draw a card. Get a Spore Crawler. Now we're out of lands, but this could be a good thing because our Visionary could get us a land that we can then play. Opponent has no plays. Good. Okay, we drew a land, which is nice. I think we just keep getting while the getting's good with the Visionary. If they'll let us. They do. It's 20-14. Play our land and drop a Weary Prisoner or Belligerent Guest. It's tricky. 4 mana uses up our mana best. Yeah, so that usually gets the nod. Weary Prisoner, a 2/6 human werewolf. Makes it day. When it becomes night, it turns into a 6/6 werewolf. A pretty average card, but gets the job done. Opponent surrenders. A quick 5th win there. So they obviously stumbled pretty hard. Our removal spell, our bolt, paid off quite nicely. That early interaction. I valued it higher the further we went into this format, and it seems like the last several sets have really rewarded early interaction. Alright. So that puts us ahead. No matter what happens now, we could lose out the rest of our matches. And regardless, we will have more than earned back the resources we put into doing this draft. It's always the main goal I'm trying to hit. But if we could get our 7 wins, I would be over the moon. Pun intended for the set. Alright, opponent goes first this time. This time we have a Flame Blessed Bolt again, and no 2-drop right now, but we have 2 3-drops to choose from, a Fearful Villager, or an Apprentice Sharpshooter, and a Falkenrath Celebrants at the top. To remind you, that's a 5 mana 4/4 menace. When it enters the battlefield, we get 2 blood tokens. Very solid high-end card. Opponent goes Island. We'll play our mountain to keep our bolt up. What would we not like to see? They play a Steelclad Spirit. This is a 3/3 defender. When an enchantment enters the battlefield under their control, it can attack. And we don't love that, because what we don't want to see, what I was going to say, is blue-white. I think is probably our worst matchup, perhaps. And Steelclad Spirit, I don't think is very good unless you're in that deck. So I think they're playing blue-white. No? Okay, they play Swamp. They play Binding Geist. This is the 3/1. When it attacks, a creature gets -2, -0. We're going to go ahead and bolt that at the end of their turn. Use up our mana. Stop them from hitting us next time. Okay, it's our turn. We draw a Belligerent Guest. We have 3 different 3-drops to choose from. Fearful Villager, a 2/3 menace, Apprentice Sharpshooter, 1/4 reach, and Belligerent Guest. I suppose we'll go with the Sharpshooter. This way, if they play an enchantment, we can potentially block. They play Whispering Wizard. 3/2, Human Wizard. When you cast a non-creature spell, make a 1/1 white spirit creature token. Do we just abrade that? We drew abrade, if that's not obvious. I really don't want them to get a 1/1 flyer. But I also want to get our creatures on the battlefield. Can we afford to give them 1 flyer? Yeah. I think we can give them 1 flyer. Oh, it's so annoying though. The issue is that they have... I'm so torn. Let's go for it. We're going to play the Belligerent Guest. We'll give them 1 turn. 1 single turn where they can get a spirit. They didn't. Let's attack with both our creatures. If we attack with both our creatures, they'll probably block the Steelclad Spirit on the Belligerent Guest, and they'll block... I don't know. We'll let them figure it out. Math is for blockers, as they say. Because we'll be hitting with a 2/5 Apprentice Sharpshooter, because it'll be training up. So they're not going to block that, I don't think. Okay, they go for Lunar Rejection. They're going to bounce my Sharpshooter back to my hand. And we are going to upbraid their Whispering Wizard. So they got 1 spirit. Our Sharpshooter came back to our hand. Do we just replay it? Yeah, we replay it, because it'll block their spirit. Okay, so when all is said and done, it's 20-20 still. We have a 1/4 reach training. They have a 1/1 flying spirit. They have another Whispering Wizard. Okay. That puts us fresh out of ways to remove their creatures. But I think that's fine. Do we play the Falkenrath Celebrants or the Wolfkin Outcast next? I kind of like the Celebrants more. Gives us some blood tokens, gets us a big menace body. Let's see, do we want to attack this turn? Yeah, I think we're the beatdown now. Okay, that's fine with me. Alright, so, let's see what else they have in the tank. They have Fear of Death in the tank. This is an enchantment. Enters battlefield, mill 2 cards. Enchant creature gets -X/-0, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard. So that will turn our Falkenrath into a 0/4 effectively. And they get another spirit. Okay, go to my turn. We drew Olivia's Attendants, so pretty much anything else we might have done is out the window. And we're just going to play Olivia's Attendants. To remind you, that is a 6/6 menace. Whenever it deals damage, we make that many blood tokens, and we can pay 2 and a red to do a damage to any target. If we get to untap with the next turn, we're going to go buck wild. They play another Whispering Wizard. So they're a triple Wizarding Wizard deck. They're attacking us for 1. It's 19 to 20. And now we're going to start picking off these creatures. Do a damage to a wizard. We get a blood token. Do a damage to a wizard. They put Cradle of Safety on it, which gives them 2 more spirits. If we attack right now, we can trade for their wizard and some spirits. I'm going to say no attacks for now. It's just too valuable for us to be able to pick off their creatures with Olivia's Attendants. They attack us with... They play Dreadfast Demon. Okay, so what has happened here? They attacked us with some spirits. We're at 16 to 20, and they played Dreadfast Demon, which I believe is the single best card in the format. The bombiest of bombs. This is a 6/6 flying demon. At the beginning of their end step, they sacrifice a non-demon creature, and if they do, they get a copy of this. Not a 6/6 flying demon, a copy of Dreadfast Demon. And so they already sacrificed at the end of their turn. You have not even the end of the turn to answer it. They have 2 of these now, and next turn they'll have 4 of these, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. So we just lose. I'm going to concede. Well, if we were going to lose, that's definitely a way. I think before they played the Dreadfast Demon, we had that super in hand, being able to pick off their spells. Interesting. The triple Whispering Wizard deck, I can't tell if it was good or not. They definitely were doing a little bit of popping off, but... Okay, so with our first loss, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back to try to get our last 2 wins.
Near the small village of Heartscrest lies an idyllic hollow abundant with flowers and berry bushes. The Warren of Petal Grove is vast and expansive. Hundreds of generations have hopped around its many twisting tunnels. Stories say that this warren has been here since Loam's creation, and all rabbits who inhabit the continent today descended from them. Humans and other various predators come to hunt for rabbits every now and then, nothing out of the ordinary, and until recently, the rabbits of Petal Grove have lived in relative peace. Hello, I'm Amber, the GM of the Warren of Petal Grove. The Warren is a game about intelligent rabbits trying to make the best of a world filled with hazards, predators, and worst of all, other rabbits. I really love the idea of having a game and setting where I plus players could tell several short stories. So I recruited 12 players to play in 3 different mini-stories, all set inside the same Warren. Sessions are aired live on twitch.tv/Geekspective. You can find the VODs on Geekspective's YouTube, and you can find the show wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go to geekspective.com for more information.
5-1. Just got handed our first loss with this deck by the bombiest bomb, the most game-ending of game-enders in the entire format. A format dominated by rares and mythic rares, and we just got beat by the best one there is. That's how it goes. Okay, let's try to come back from that, though. We go first. Got a very low to the ground start. Voltaic Visionary on 2, and then 3 drops after that. Belligerent Guest, Apprentice Sharpshooter, Spore Crawler. We'll keep it. We are going first, and that helps. Play our Mountain, as we so often do on turn 1. Opponent answers with a Mountain of their own. We drew a Flame Blessed Bolt. That's great. Play our Voltaic Visionary. See if we don't get bolted end of turn. We do. Poor Voltaic Visionary. It's a great card, it just rarely gets to do anything. They play Reclusive Taxidermist, a mana producer, and Is this a bolt the bird situation? If we let them untap, they could play a 4-drop. Or do we play a 3-drop knowing that next turn we can play a 3-drop plus the Flame Blast Bolt? Tough question. I think we're going to play Spore Crawler. 3-2, when it dies we draw a card. And see if we get punished for not killing the mana producer. There's a saying, bolt the bird, as in always take the opportunity to kill their mana producer. They play Saw Blade Slinger, which is a 4-3. It has more text, but none of it applies in this situation, so it's just a 4-3. So actually, I feel pretty good about our decision there. Let's go ahead and now take the opportunity to bolt the bird. And then what do we want to do? We drew a Visionary, and we have our Spore Crawler. I think we're going to play a Sharpshooter. No attacks. If they want to attack with their 4-3, we'll block with our 3-2 that draws us a card. Okay, they play a Fearful Villager. So they're on the same plan we are, of course. Do we attack now? If we attack, we'll be hitting with a 2-5 and a 3-2. The issue is they can double block the 2-5, kill it, and we don't get anything out of it. So instead we're going to play out the rest of our hand. Belligerent Guest, Voltaic Visionary. Attack with the Spore Crawler? Yeah, I think so. Because this will trade for either of their cards if they let it through. Or if they block, rather, sorry. And then we would draw a card. They just take the hit, 20-17. Okay, they just passed, which turns it to night, so now they have a 4-3 Menace Werewolf. Now, what do we would like to do? Well, we have 3 creatures with 3 power, and they have 2 creatures with 3 toughness. Do we just swing out with these 3 drops? I guess so. We also have the Voltaic Visionary. Yeah, okay, so here's what we do, I think. We go to attack. Definitely attacking with the Spore Crawler. Definitely attacking with the Guest. Not attacking with the Visionary. We'd like to draw a card off of it. Okay, 2 attackers. See how they want to block. Okay, so they're blocking with the Fearsome Werewolf. I wonder if they have a combat trick. Yep, they have Sure Strike. It's fine. We went 1 for 1. Did 3 damage there at 14. Let's go ahead and activate our Voltaic Visionary. We drew a Forest. Go ahead and play it. So now our Voltaic Visionary is a 4-3. Then we play another Belligerent Guest. We've got them under some pressure, but yeah, they also have a lot of cards still. 2 cards left in hand. They play a Flourishing Hunter, which is really bad for us. It's a 6-6. It gains some life, so they're back up to 17. And now the big problem is they have this 6-6 that our creatures just don't stack up to. So unfortunately we're just going to have to pass, keeping a land in our hand for bluff value. They're attacking with just the 6-6. We could take it out with a Spore Crawler and a Belligerent Guest, and you know, I think we're going to do it. Actually, cancel that. No blocks. We'll just take 6. We're down to 12. Just, you know, not a great position to be. Ugh. So they're on the mono 6-drop plan. They played Pyre Spawn, 6-4. When it dies, it does 3 to any target. It's getting bad out here. Let's play a Falconwrath Celebrants. We get 2 blood tokens. And then let's put a stop on their turn so we can use some blood. If we attack with the Volt Charge Berserker, I guess we just are priced into doing that, because it can't block anyway. They can trade with it with any of their remaining creatures. 4-3, a 4-3, and a 6-4. Or they can just take 4 damage. Wouldn't be the end of the world for them. Indeed, they just take 4. It's 12 to 13. And then we go to their turn. And now we're looking at a 6-6 and a 6-4 coming at us at the minimum. They could also just swing out, which I think is what I'd be tempted to do if I were them. Yeah, that is what they do. We're really calling it here. Well, let's see. We could block Belligerent Guest, can kill a werewolf. Spore Crawler could kill the blade dude. And then we could... I mean, we have to block how much of this to live? Let's go like this. Sharpshooter to block Flourishing Hunter. Spore Crawler to block the Fearsome Wolf. No, because it has Menace to block the Slinger. 2 blocks, go to damage. We're down to 2. Our Spore Crawler dies and we draw a card, which is Wolf Strike. Not bad, not bad. They play Toxic Scorpion, these bastards. It's my card. And a Belligerent Guest as their final card. Okay, resolve that, and let's go ahead and consume some blood. Ditch a land. Our turn. We drew another land, and another land for our draw step. So we have to sacrifice our other blood to try to get something worthwhile. We get a Laid to Rest, which is not going to be enough. We're actually fairly close to being able to do lethal damage, but no such luck, and we will die next turn. That game we lost to too many 6-mana creatures. We weren't able to apply the pressure. Wow, are we going to go from a 5-0 start to rattling off 3 losses in a row? We are 1 loss away from being done. I've said this many a time, but once I get to 5, I feel pretty good. But man, with such a strong start, I was really hoping to 7-0. It's still possible. Could still do it. I really want our Voltaic Visionary to be able to do its thing, man. They get bolted so often. That time we got to activate it, so I guess that's something. Yeah, but we opened with a Visionary, and they just instantly bolted it. Okay, shake it off, shake it off. We'll have another chance, because we have a Voltaic Visionary in hand. Also having a Braid, Wedding Invitation, Spore Crawler, and a Wolf Strike. This is all good. Wouldn't mind some more lands, but our opponent's going first, so we'll get an extra draw. We'll keep this. They go Forest, and we draw lands. Okay, so I feel a lot better about this hand now. They go Mountain. So once again, going against the mirror. They start with Sporeback Wolf. 2 mana 2/2. As long as it's their turn, it gets +0/+2. Do we just braid that right off the bat? No, we're gonna go Visionary. We've got lots of creatures that can profitably trade with that. I don't really feel like using our removal spell that's at such a premium. No blocks. We take 2. It's 18 to 20. They go Toxic Scorpion. See, like, that's an example of something I'd rather kill. So, what would we like to do? I think we're going to braid it. We have a Wolf Strike in hand. So we'll braid it. Attack for 3. 18 to 17. They go Weary Prisoner. That's a good one. They hit us. We're down to 16. Do you like that card? Now what do we want to play? An Apprentice Sharpshooter? Sounds reasonable. Could also play a Fearful Villager, given that it's werewolf time. Attackers. No attacks this time. In the turn. Okay, so they just passed the turn over, letting it turn to night. So now they have a 6/6 Jailbreaker. We did not draw a land, which means we are going to Visionary, which gave us a land. We'll play it. Flips our Visionary into a 4/3. And now we've got 5 mana. I'd like to flip their werewolf back over, which we could do. We've got 5 mana, so we could play Fearful Villager, which comes in as a werewolf, and the Toxic Scorpion. Who do we want to give somebody? Death Touch? Sure, doesn't matter. No attacks this time. Turns back to day. So now it's 14-17. We have a 4/3 Volt Charge Berserker, 1/3 Reach Training Apprentice Sharpshooter, 2/3 Fearful Villager, 1/1 Death Touch Toxic Scorpion. They have their Sporeback Wolf, a 2/4. It'll be a 2/2 on our turn, and their 2/6 Weary Prisoner. A lot going on. But nobody really has good attacks at the moment. They play a Snarling Wolf, the 1/1 that you can pump to be a 3/3, and a Runebound Wolf, 2/2. 4 tap, it deals damage equal to the number of werewolves you control to target opponent. Wow, so, which at this point would be 3 to us. Wow. So what shall we do? We can Wolf Strike something and kill it. Is that what we want to do? That Runebound Wolf is going to be a big problem for us. So I think it has to go. So let's Wolf Strike, using the Scorpion to kill it. And then we have 2 mana left, just enough for a Wedding Invitation, which lets us draw a card. We draw a land, go ahead and play it. And with that, our turn's done. Depending on what they do, we can Wolf Strike their Weary Prisoner and start attacking next turn. But we're also at the point of the game where big things might start happening. They passed with nothing, doing nothing. Okay, so werewolves flip back over. We're going to Wolf Strike using our Scorpion to kill the Wrathful Jailbreaker. And then we are going to go to combat and attack with everything. Our Sharpshooter trains up to a 2/5, and we'll go to blocks. They have a lot of mana available to them. Bare minimum, they can pump their Snarling Wolf to a 3/3, but they also just might have a combat trick or two. They're really deliberating over these blocks, though, which to me doesn't suggest a combat trick. If you have the combat trick, you just kind of snap it off, I think. Okay, so they blocked with their Snarling Wolf and their Sporeback Wolf. They activate the Snarling Wolf, which will trade with my Volt Charge Berserker. Both their creatures die. We get in for damage. It's 14-11, and we're left with an Apprentice Sharpshooter and a Fearsome Werewolf, and after combat, a Spore Crawler. And we'll end the turn. Our board the board position currently looks good. Oh, but they played the Pig Farmer. I'm so jealous. The Rural Recruit. 1/1 training makes a 3/1 boar with it. I'm so jealous. So freaking jealous. I don't think it's going to be enough to save them in this particular spot, particularly because we drew a Weary Prisoner. I'm just going to stop them from attacking us. We are going to attack them, though. Do we attack with the... Oh, right. The Fearful Villager will make them have to double block because it has Menace. So we're just going to attack with everything. Sharpshooter trains into a 3/6. They can double block the Fearful Villager, in which case they'll double trade for it. or they can block the Spore Crawler and kill it, trading their pig for it, and then we would draw a card. Would be fine by me. They could chump. They could just eat 8 damage and go to 3. None of these options are very appealing for our opponent right now. They decide to trade with the Spore Crawler and their pig, which means we draw a card. We have a Flame Blessed Bolt. I do not mind seeing that. We are going to play Weary Prisoner, however. We're holding on to a land in hand. For bluff value, yes, but more importantly to me, we're holding on to it because if we draw Olivia's Attendants, and we start making blood with something else maybe, then we want some fodder to trade away. Our opponent just hit 6th land. Okay. So, okay, I'll tell you what they played, and I'll tell you what I was afraid they would play. They played Dormant Grove, which is a 4-mana enchantment. At the beginning of combat on their turn, put a 1/1 counter on target creature they control. Then if that creature has 6 or greater toughness, you turn this thing into a 3/6 vigilance. So they're putting a counter on the recruit. I think we're just going to Flame Blessed Bolt it in response. And that should bring us to the end of the game, hopefully. But what I was afraid is they had the Flourishing Hunter, whatever it is. I was afraid that they're really close to having a 7th land and a Brambleworm. They still might. All right, we hit them for 5, and they go down to 1. We're going to play a land in the turn. That turns our Weary Prisoner into the Wrathful Jailbreaker, 6/6. We still have a Wedding Invitation to make something unblockable. I think they're dead. At this point, even the worm won't save them. They play Flourishing Hunter. Thankfully, with no other creatures in play, that does not gain them any life. They put a 1/1 counter on it. Their Dormant Grove turns into the Gnarled Grove Strider. This is all academic, because we are going to make a creature unblockable and kill them on our turn. Let's make our Apprentice Sharpshooter unblockable. After all, he's been training this entire game for this moment. Opponent, I think, is trying to block the Sharpshooter, not understanding that I've made it unblockable. I can see them clicking on their cards, obviously trying to drag the Gnarled Grove Strider onto the Sharpshooter. That doesn't work. That's good game. It's a good thing we got the win there when we did, because they had some very powerful creatures on the board. So this deck definitely has a weakness. The creatures can get too big for us to handle. Alright, 1 game left to play. Trying to get that 7th win. It's all or nothing in the final game. I don't normally feel the need to say the name of my opponents, the username, but I think this one is thematic with our show. We are facing Red Deck Wins. Well, we are playing a red deck, so perhaps that will come true. Opponent goes first. We're going to keep. We have a Voltaic Visionary, Toxic Scorpion, Wedding Invitation, and Olivia's Attendants at the top end. Let's go. Opponent goes Plains Traveling Minister. The best 1-drops. This is a 1/1. You can tap it. Target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn, and you gain a life. Only at sorcery speed. There's a lot of that in this set. Only at sorcery speed. This is a good example of only at sorcery speed, because being able to mess with combat at instant speed is not a fun experience. Now that being said, we're going to play our Voltaic Visionary. They played a Swamp as their 2nd land, so I wouldn't be in the least surprised if they decide to Gift of Fangs it, because we just never get to have fun with this card. Instead, they go Circle of Confinement, a little O-ring. Fine. We drew another Voltaic Visionary. You stopped 1. Can you stop 2? Meanwhile, they're hitting us down with this annoying Traveling Minister. It's now 18-20. Red deck wins playing Orzhov. Amber would not approve. Oh, they play the Kindly Ancestor. 2/3 lifelink. Disturbs into a lifelink aura. Now what are you going to do, opponent? If I were them, I'd be tempted to attack. They do not. Instead, they just give their creature +1/+0 so they can gain a life. So it's 18 to 21 now. We drew Sure Strike, so let's go ahead and attack here. One attacker. Go to blockers. Are they going to trade their Kindly Ancestor? I don't think I would if I were them. It's got lifelink. They do not trade it, so we hit for 3. It's 18 all. Now we can play Toxic Scorpion and Wedding Invitation. Draw a card. A Belligerent Guest. I like the Voltaic Visionary because you get in for 3 damage once or twice, and then all of a sudden attacks stop being good, and you're like, I'd like to draw a card, please. So right now, for example, we are about to miss a land drop, depending on what we draw, of course. And if we do, we could Voltaic Visionary in the hopes that we do get to draw that extra card and hit that land drop. Pretty nice little card. It's a lot of action on your 2-drop. Opponent gives Kindly Ancestor +1/+0, gains a life, then attacks. We're going to go ahead and trade using our Scorpion. This does mean that they now have that Disturb aura. They just play another Kindly Ancestor. That's fair enough. We could Wolf Strike it, which we just drew. Let's start with a Voltaic Visionary. We're going to activate it. We take 2 damage, going to 16. Got a Forest on top. I love that. Play it. Flip our Visionary into the Volt Charge Berserker. And at this point, do we play a Belligerent Guest, or do we Wolf Strike away the Kindly Ancestor? I kind of want a Belligerent Guest. I want to save this Wolf Strike for something that we can't deal with any other way. We could also, we have 2 mana up, we could Sure Strike it if they come at us. They give it +1/+0 again. They come at us again. We block again. They want to pass to damage. Do we just trade, or do we want to Sure Strike this thing and keep our Belligerent Guest in play? I'm going to Sure Strike it. I'd like to get some blood tokens with our guest, if possible. Oof. Okay, so our opponent plays Edgar Charmed Groom. This is another A+ bomb. What does this card do? It's a 4 mana 4/4 legendary vampire. Other vampires that control get +1/+1. Doesn't matter. What does matter is when he dies, you return him transformed to the battlefield, and he comes back as an artifact, Edgar Markov's Coffin. At the beginning of your upkeep, make a 1/1 vampire with lifelink and put a bloodline counter on the coffin. Then if there are 3 or more counters on the coffin, you remove them and he turns back into Edgar Charmed Groom. God. I mean, this sucks because we have Wolf Strike, right? We have the ability right now to kill Edgar, but then he's just going to turn into this thing that makes 1/1 lifelinkers every single turn. So what are we going to do? Do we Wolf Strike? If we Wolf Strike, we get in for 7, and then he starts making those things. I think here's what we're going to do instead. We're going to drop Olivia's Attendants. Pass the turn. He can't attack into us reasonably, because he'll have a 5/4 at most. Next turn, we can Wolf Strike. kill the Edgar, start getting in for damage, and then we can kill his stupid vampires as they spawn. I'm losing my ASMR voice as I get worked up over facing all of these goddamn rares. We have to make do with Olivia's attendants, while other people get Dreadfast Demons and Edgar Charm Groom. A card that you can't actually remove. There is a world, I suppose, where we kill Edgar and then draw in a Braid. They play Sigarda's Imprisonment on Olivia's attendants. This is the pacifism. It's actually a little bit better than a pacifism, because eventually you can pay 5 and exile the enchanted creature, which I hate. Okay, so we're giving +1/+0 to Edgar. Go to attacks. He attacks. We're going to take it. No blocks. Go to damage. It's 11 to 24. And now it's our turn. Okay, so let's start doing some business. Wolf Strike, Olivia's attendants, kill Edgar. And resolve all these things. It comes back as the coffin. We have a lot of blood tokens now. Now we'll go to combat. Smash in for 7. It's 11 to 17. Get another blood token. Let's play a Spore Crawler. We now have so much blood that essentially any dead card we draw, we can cycle until we get some gas. Okay, our opponent gets a vampire with lifelink. I think we're just going to lose to this stupid coffin. They play Pointed Discussion. They draw 2 cards, lose 2 life, get 2 blood. They are going to pay the price right now for not taking out my Olivia's attendants when they had the chance, because we're just going to start eating their 1/1s. They use the Traveling Minister, so now they have a 2/1 vampire, and they pass without doing anything. Okay, so now we're going to Olivia's attendants, kill the 1/1 lifelinker, get another blood token, Olivia's attendants, kill the Traveling Minister. I think our opponent is only now realizing the additional ability Olivia's attendants has. We made that mistake previously too. Sure, you've pacified her, but she can still eat your blood. Or drink it even. Okay, so now their board's empty. And we go to combat. And we attack with everything. It's now 11 to 6. And we even get an extra blood token for the belligerent guest. And they scoop! They concede! We beat the coffin! We beat Edgar Markov! How appropriate. In the final game, in the final draft of Crimson Vow, we 7-0 by slaying Edgar Markov himself. Wow. 7 wins for your boy. Fuck this format. Fuck these rares. I can't wait to move on to a new format. It's been fun, and I'm glad you've been here for the ride. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you tune in next time. I am just going to definitively say right now, this is the last time I will draft Innistrad Crimson Vow. Go to hell. Good night.